I'm Ted Keys in Pasadena, California. Welcome to my Tuesday conference call, a free, high-powered meeting I hold live every Tuesday for top-producing freight agents. Go to tedkeysonline.com for complete call information. Then join us weekly to see new, serious, struggling, and experienced sales professionals move more freight efficiently, effectively, effortlessly, and make more money financially. So watch my recorded call topic highlighted there on your screen right now. Then go to tedkeysonline.com and hear more podcasts, read more blog posts, watch more videos, and while you're there, visit my Freight Sales Success Store for top-notch freight moving products to explode your business today. Enjoy watching and applying my Tuesday conference call. Okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead here and mute everybody out here, and then I'll get into the guts of my call. Hello and welcome everybody to my Tuesday conference call. I'm Ted Keys, your host here in Pasadena, California. This is a free high-powered meeting I hold live every Tuesday for top producing freight agents at 2 p.m. Pacific time and 5 p.m. Eastern time. On the call today, I'll show you how to move more freight efficiently, effectively, effortlessly, so you make more money financially. And after the call, as I said earlier, go to tedkeysonline.com to hear more podcasts, read more blog posts, watch more videos, and while you're there, visit my Freight Sales Success Store for top-notch freight moving products to explode your freight business today. And while you're there, go to the contact page and enter your contact details and receive your personal weekly invite to this call if you haven't done that already. And once you do that, you'll also receive my free report, 11 Ways Freight Agents Will Increase Their Income. Let's go to our topic today. The topic of my call today is how to build authority with any freight prospect. One more time, how to build authority with any freight prospect. I will say this, when you make those calls to your prospective customers, to your prospects, you've got to come across like you have authority. Even though you may not yet, you've got to come across like you have experience. Because if you come across saying, your prospect is going to know right away that you lack experience. Now, can you come across right away having authority? Yes, no, it's up to you. But authority is important when you make those phone calls. Let's go to the email that I sent out today, and let's go ahead and scroll to the bottom of the email where we're going to go over a number of attachments today as I do on every call. Let's go ahead and open up that first email attachment. As I typically do for every conference call, I show you our Green Meadows Productions Agent Leaderboard. This is a leaderboard that we had for last month. Again, my purpose in doing this is to, if you are an agent with me, your goal is to get your name, have your name on this leaderboard, wherever it may be. Once it's on the leaderboard, your desire and your goal is to move your way up this leaderboard. It's a way to show that you have the ability, that you've got the gusto, you've got the oomph to actually get on this leaderboard and move forward. Because as you see your name move up the leaderboard, it tells you that you're becoming successful in this profession. So congratulations to all of you that are on the call and your name is on this leaderboard. Obviously, if you're not with our office, you won't see your name on there. But anyway, let's go ahead and move forward to our next attachment. Our next attachment basically contains my topic today. My topic again is how to build authority with any freight prospect. And as I said earlier, that's your desire when you make that first call. Your desire is to show your prospect or your prospective customer that you have experience and that you have authority in this profession. Now, let's talk about this a little bit. Hang tight here, folks. When you call a freight prospect for the first time, you typically haven't given them any reason to care about what you're saying. They're thinking, this is your prospect thinking, who is this person? I've never heard him before. Or why should I believe anything you say? Or do they even know anything about me? Well, if you follow my process, you better know something about this prospect before you call him. However, that's a topic that's something for another topic. Authority is different from trust. Establishing authority requires you to show that you're a freight specialist and that you possess that particular skill set that will assist your prospect in moving their freight. Establishing authority is also necessary to stay in control of the sales process. If you act like a hot mess, your freight prospects won't believe that you're able to truly understand their challenges, much less assist them with viable solutions in moving their freight. Successful freight sales agents who convey authority come prepared to calls, they think a few steps ahead, and they project confidence. Let me say that last word, or that last line. They project confidence. Confidence has a lot to do with the authority that you come to with every call. Generally speaking, being authoritative usually requires a person to be forceful, confident, and direct. Can you tell that I'm being a little direct with you on the call today? But authority takes on a slightly different meaning in freight sales and is therefore expressed in different ways. I'm going to go over 5 techniques that freight sales agents must use to build authority with their freight prospects if they're going to move forward in building that relationship with them. Number 1, the first way is you have to start your calls with an agenda and a question. Let me say that one more time. Start your calls with an agenda and a question. Setting an agenda shows your prospect you've thought deeply about this business relationship and how to advance with them in a productive manner. Now, always ask your prospect to review your agenda and confirm it makes sense with them. Are you going to do this on the first call? I don't know. Are you going to do it on the second call? I can't answer that either. Why? Because every single prospect is different. But this usually takes place during the course of building a relationship with them. Steamrolling your prospect is the opposite of authority. You can't just go into a call and expect to steamroll your prospect into a corner, forcing them to make a decision. Hang tighter. There's a huge difference between being controlling and being in control. Be flexible and willing to adapt if that's what your prospect wants, meaning be flexible really with all the prospects and all the customers that you deal with. Why? Because I said in earlier calls, everyone is different. You have to adjust differently to every single prospect that you speak to. The question you start with signals that while you're in control, you're not going to force your prospect into anything. You care about what they have to say. Here's a couple examples of good opening questions to include. And again, this goes back to what I said, agenda and a question. Question number 1. How's everything going? Basically in relation to, what we discussed earlier, the goals that we discussed or the plans. Basically ask for a status update early on to quickly surface potential roadblocks. Ask them right away, hey, how's it going? I mean, is there anything that I can assist you with? Any questions that you may have? Question number 2. When we last spoke, we discussed X and decided on Y. Well, does Y still make sense with you? Basically, confirm that you and your prospect are on the same page. And if you're not on the same page, then find out why. Here's question number 3. Before we get started today, is there anything you think I should know? Before we get started today, is there anything that you can think of that I should know? Basically, a mix of 1 and 2. The question you just asked gives your prospect the opportunity to discuss information that's important to them, and it may wind up being crucial to your sale. So the first way is to start off, to have an agenda, and to start off with a question. That's the first way to establish authority or to build authority with your freight prospect. Here's a second way to build authority with your freight prospect, and that is to demonstrate your experience. Can you do this when you have no experience? It's up to you. I don't know what your abilities are and what you bring to the table. However, as you keep making phone calls and keep building your contact list and start moving freight, you will demonstrate your experience, which is number 2. If a salesperson said to you, "Trust me, I've seen your situation a million times, everything will be fine," how would you respond to that? If you're savvy, you'll say, "Oh, really? Give me an example." And believe me, if somebody said that to me, trust me, that's what I would say back to them. "Oh, really? Give me an example." Your prospect has no reason to believe that you have a track record of success unless you show them what you've done. Whether it's sharing anecdotal examples, setting up a call with a satisfied customer, or providing a walkthrough of the sales process, your prospect will be far more likely to listen to what you have to say if you're able to prove that you know your stuff and that you're bringing your stuff to the table. As I said earlier, do you have experience going into that first call? Or if you're a beginner, not necessarily, but the more calls you make, the more experience you'll gain. That's number 2, demonstrate your experience. Number 3, work how your prospect works. The third way to establish authority with your freight prospect is to work how your prospect works. Let me ask you this. What's the difference between being controlling and being in control? Great question. What's the difference between being controlling and being in control? Well, a controlling freight sales agent is rigid and inflexible. He won't change his approach no matter what his prospect says because he believes his way is the only way. And guess what? He doesn't move a whole lot of freight in the process. That's a controlling freight sales agent. A freight agent who's in control knows that this isn't an effective tactic. She's not afraid to change her strategies if it turns out her prospect needs something a little different. Again, you're working how your prospect works. By being adaptable, she's demonstrating that she's an expert seller, all while making her prospect feel as comfortable as possible. Again, working how your prospect works. Always ask your prospect if they're in agreement with you before taking a step. Hey, how does that sound to you? There's a way of finding out if your prospect is in agreement with you. How does that rate sound? Are these miles correct? Is this weight correct? How does this sound to you? Will my rate work for you? Here's an example. You might say, what I'd like to do now is spend 30 minutes taking you through X, whatever that is. Is that okay with you? In my emails that I send out, one of the last lines I almost always put is, will that work? Is that okay with you? Will that work? I don't necessarily like the word okay, but for me, will that work? Will you let me know if I start talking too fast, too slow, or if you have any questions? By getting your prospects buy-in, you've automatically made them a stakeholder in the process and confirmed that you're proceeding at their cadence. And let me just say that again, their desired cadence. Work how your prospect works. That's the third way to establish authority with your prospects. Here's the fourth way. The fourth way how to establish authority is to be businesslike with a personality. Let me say that again. Be businesslike with a personality. Here's a great example. Laughter is always, let me say that again, laughter is always the best medicine. When people are having a good time, they're more relaxed and they're more real. Authority doesn't mean being so lofty and out of reach that your prospects can't relate to you. Always use analogies to make your prospects smile. Let me give you an example. This is a typical line, or it's a line that that anybody could use to generate laughter, and that is moving faster than a hungry dog to a hot dog cart. That's just an example of how to provide some laughter to your conversation. Humor allows you to foster a connection with your prospects, who will then be more likely to answer truthfully when you ask them questions. One of the best things that you can do is get your prospects to respond to you in a truthful manner. Here's another way in which to bring personality in your selling. Ask the prospect whether your process has been easy or hard, stressful or relaxing. Has it been fun or a pain? Those are personal questions that you can ask your prospect just to get them to open up a little bit. This will tell you whether your prospect has been through this process before and is following a set plan, or is winging it and needs a bit more help. Like trust, authority is easier to gain if your prospect believes you're being genuine. And that is so important, that when you're talking to your prospects and establishing that authority, that you're being genuine. You can't get on by likability alone, and always bring your personality to the table, because the rapport you build with your prospects will make them more receptive in your direction, stressing your direction, i.e., or compared to somebody else's direction. Ultimately, prospects are more likely to be forthcoming if they feel you're genuine. And unless you understand their specific requirements, you can't tailor the sales process to their unique situation. So that's a fourth way. Fourth way is be businesslike with a personality. The fifth way is basically, I'm going to recap. I'm not going to recap, but it's the recap of the conversation and the relationship that you're building with your prospect. At the end of every conversation, clearly list the next steps for both you and your prospects. And here's the most important thing: attach due dates. Here's an example. Can I get you that rate? Or when do you want me to get you that rate? You're talking to your prospect, they open up to you, they say they do lanes from Rapid City to Sioux City. When can I get that rate to you? That is establishing a due date. Email them a written summary after each call, recapping what's been done and what's next, and ask for updates, changes, or any types of questions they may have. Remember that your prospects are busy people, and they depend on you, believe it or not, to keep them organized and remind them of what remind them of what to expect next from you. It's essential. I can't express how important this is. It's essential to stay in control of your sales process. And when you can do that, that means that you've established authority with your prospect. You simply can't close deals if your prospect doesn't put stock in what you say or do. Moreover, you can't successfully anticipate objections or accurately forecast details without a plan and the ability to get your prospect to follow you. And I'm not talking about on Facebook or on LinkedIn. I'm talking about following you in the relationship that you're building with them. To do that, you must establish authority. So let's do a little recap here. What are the 5 ways to establish authority or to build authority with any freight prospect? The first way, again, is start your calls with an agenda and make sure you have a quick question to ask right away. Second way to establish authority or to build authority is to demonstrate that you have experience. Whether you do or you don't, demonstrate your experience. The third way, work how your prospect works. Adjust to them and their process. The fourth way is to be businesslike with a personality. And the fifth way is to recap anything that you've been building with them up to this point. 5 great ways, to build authority with any freight prospect. Let's go ahead and move on from there. Let's go ahead and open up that third attachment that I sent you, and let's talk about our Remember series. Remember when you're calling your prospects and customers. I've got 5 great points for you today. So opening up that third attachment, remember when calling your prospects and customers that a true entrepreneur is a doer. A true entrepreneur is a doer, not a dreamer. For those of you that have a desire to get into this profession, doing is actually educating yourself. As I said earlier on the call, get to my website, tedkeysonline.com. Listen to my podcasts, read my blog posts, watch my videos. That is what a true entrepreneur does, not a dreamer. I am looking for dreamers. I take it back. I am looking for doers, not dreamers. So a true entrepreneur is a doer, not a dreamer. Most of the world dreams, only a small percentage of it actually does. Which category are you in? Let's go ahead and move on from there. Let's go ahead and open up that fourth attachment, which reads, very important. Remember when you're calling your prospects and customers, folks, if you're not sure of your value, your goals, or what you desire, this world will never reward you with your values, your goals, and what you desire. You will be rewarded according to the amount of effort into what you do and the belief that you put into that effort. So basically, if you're not sure of your value, your goals, or what you desire, this world is not going to reward you. It's that simple. When you truly feel that you have value and that you're setting goals and that you're working toward those goals and what you desire out of this profession, then the world will reward you with what we just talked about. One more time. If you're not sure of your value, your goals, or what you desire, the world will not reward you according to those 3 attributes. So what do? Well, you start building value by getting on the phone. You start achieving your accomplishments by setting goals and telling the world, basically our marketplace, what your desire is. And what's that? It's to move their freight. Let's go ahead and move on from there. Open up that 5th attachment. That 5th attachment reads, again, remember when you're calling your prospects and customers to be in agreement. I just talked about this on one of your ways to build authority, to adjust. And I also talked about being in agreement. Be in agreement. Always find a way to agree and work with your prospect's challenges. If your prospect tells you about something and that goes against your grain, well, what's going to happen? You think you're going to move their freight? I mean, if they're telling you that their challenge is to find trucks in Rapid City to move their loads to Sioux City, well, you better be in agreement with them and say, you know what, sir? I have a way to find trucks for you. I have this outstanding this freight system to move it. When can I get a rate for you? But my main point is to be in agreement. If your customer goes off with complaints, okay, I mean, distinguish whether they're complaints or they're objections. However, in the end, make sure you're in agreement. Always find a way to agree and work with your prospects' challengers. Don't go against the grain. Let's go ahead and open up that 6th attachment. Attachment number 6 states, again, remember when calling your prospects and customers, you'll never change anyone's mind by preaching at them. You're not going to build authority by preaching at anybody. This goes back to my last attachment. Be in agreement. If you think you're going to preach at somebody and get them to see your perspective, it's not going to happen. You'll never change anybody's mind by preaching at them, by taking this strong stance like you are right regardless of what you think. It's not going to happen if you feel that you're going to throw your way of thinking at somebody. So what do? You don't preach. Let's go ahead and move on from there. Open up that last attachment. That last attachment reads, remember when you're calling your prospects and customers, again, this goes hand in hand with my topic today, people usually believe their own ideas much more than yours. Let me say that one more time. People usually believe their own ideas much more than yours. How often have you had a conversation with somebody and they attempted to change your mind or your opinion about something? How often were they actually successful in doing that and actually changing your opinion? Typically, when we're middle-aged, even getting into our twilight years, our opinions are pretty well established. What's my point? My point is to be flexible, just like I talked about earlier in building authority. Be flexible when you're building a relationship with your prospects and your customers. Great topic today. How to build authority with your freight prospects. Now, if you're not on my email, and again, I'm just concluding up my call here. If you're not on my email list and you're not receiving my email invites to this conference call, what do? Again, go to tedkeysonline.com/contacts, or just go to tedkeysonline.com and hit the contact page. Enter your contact details. That will get you on my email list, where you'll receive my daily emails. You'll receive my conference call invites. Again, tedkeysonline.com, and then go to the contact page. If you have any questions, any comments, or do you desire to join our top producing freight team, give me a call, Ted Keys, at 626-309-9141. I'll be happy to discuss with you becoming a top producing freight agent with our team. Great topic today. Make sure you take this to heart. And also tomorrow, when I send out my podcast reminders, go to my podcast, listen to my recorded podcast on this topic. Great talking today, folks. Take care. God bless. I will see you all. I will hear you all next week at the same time. Take care. You've just taken a tremendous step forward by watching and applying my Tuesday conference call highlight. Do you desire to earn and learn with our top freight team and Christian-based office? Yes? We're searching for a self-starter who's serious, motivated, and ready to take action right now. Is that you? Go to tedkeysonline.com/contacts and enter your contact details. We provide top-notch freight agent sales training to you. Then you deliver those same skills with confidence to the freight industry marketplace. I'll talk to you soon.